Yeah, this is Kong. You're listening to Shotgun The Aux.
Which brings us on to our guest for episode 27 of Shotgun The Aux. Kong, the Rum Committee reprobate himself. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming down, man. And you're a second guest in 2 consecutive weeks. You've made the train journey down from Hove, so big up, man. Appreciate you joining us today on a Saturday.
That's Brighton.
Okay, Brighton. Already fucked that one up. So, man.
Tom.
So, yeah, man. So, yeah, thanks for bringing the sunshine down with you, man.
Yeah, well, I had to bring something, didn't I? Yeah, but yeah, no, thanks for having me, guys. I'm looking forward to
Good man.
getting into it. Yeah.
It's not your first time in Bournemouth either, is it?
No, we've as Rum Committee, we played there a bunch of times. Did the first ever Backyard Boogaloo. Shout out Backyard Boogaloo. Those guys have been
Big up,
putting this
Bobby.
on for a long time. So used to play at the Winchester a couple of times. I was down a bit more recently, actually. I did a solo set in September last year.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, I was I was still in rehab at the time. I had to submit some risk assessment forms and everything for them to allow me to go and do this.
Surely
gig.
that was quite a lot of forms to submit to go and play at an event.
Yeah, it wasn't easy to get them to agree to it, man. Like, seriously, like that. I mean, shit's tight in there.
Yeah, man, I can imagine.
I had to agree to rigorous piss testing over a few days, to make sure I hadn't got up to no good while I was away. But no, it all went well. I went and played down. It was my first gig in recovery, actually.
Did you Did you need like a chaperone or anything, or did they send anyone with you?
No, I went down with Tiny.
Yeah.
Do you know Tiny?
No, man.
Tiny's a legend. He's a ironically named 6'7" DJ. Shout out Tiny. But yeah, I went down with him and Crouchy, and we went down and it was good. It was good gig. I enjoyed it. First time performing stuff off Prehab.
Yeah, man.
And I was back in rehab by 1 a.m. or something.
Jesus, man. And Prehab's obviously the name of your new album, and we played it with the track They Talk, man, and it's dope, man. It's really kind of a candid, gritty portrayal of I'm guessing it's semi to autobiographical.
Oh yeah, I mean it's more than semi autobiographical. It's pretty much bar obviously your typical sort of hip hop over exaggerations in certain areas. It's all pretty spot on from my life before I sort of decided to get my shit together. In short.
And this was all happening during Rum Committee, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of, it took me a long time to even start to get a solo project out because there was always so much going on. Obviously, I was doing stuff with Rum Committee. I was brought out a couple of EPs with Hatter, the Mad Gorillas EPs. Shout out Hatter. So I never really got around to doing anything solo. It was just there was always so much going on, and then sort of as Rum Committee became less active, I sort of started going, right, fuck this. I'm pushing 30 and I ain't even got a solo EP, a solo fucking project out anyway.
Yeah.
So I thought I've got to do it. Started making it. It was all going well, but then some personal issues in my life sort of sent me down a mad path for a couple of years. So it took me a few years to get my head out of my ass far enough to be able to finish the album. And then obviously, as you know, I had to go into treatment for 5 months.
Yeah, man.
So
you come out the other end though, man. That's the thing. You know what I'm saying?
I'm still here.
Go back to the beginning. So obviously you did a lot of battle rapping to begin with.
Yeah.
And that, so I saw on, I watched that, or listened to rather, Battle Rap Resume. And I mean, that guy's clued on. Like, he knows everything about every single battle that's happened. And he said it was the first battle was 2009 November. Was that right?
That sounds about right, I think. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So was that the first?
I battled Giz, I think, for my first battle. It was fucking shocking.
Yeah.
So bad, but obviously, I hadn't been rapping even that long by then.
Yeah.
And Don't Flop was really in its early stages, so it was very simple. There was none of this, do you know what I mean? There was no real technical. Yeah, it was more theatrical than technical back then.
Oh, right, okay, I'm with you, man.
It was more just like you know what I mean, mum jokes and taking the piss. It was less serious. You know what I mean?
Playground stuff.
It was fun. I did a few and I enjoyed it while I was involved with it. But you couldn't fucking pay me. There's not enough money in the fucking world to get me to do that shit.
It's very niche.
I mean, there is, but you ain't got that.
It's quite niche, isn't it? Battle rapping's quite like niche, isn't it? I mean, it takes like previous guests who've been on have explained it, and saying it's a lot of effort but not much reward. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. No, fucking.
You're writing for fucking ages, and then delivering
someone
a
else is
punchline.
making all the fucking dough.
Yeah, I
Shout
can imagine
out
that.
fucking absolute fucking thief.
Was Don't Flop before the Cold City battles?
Yeah, they kind of happened. Don't even talk about them. You know when you message me and say anything you don't want to talk about, I should have said the Cold City battles.
moving swiftly on.
I drank a lot of fucking brandy when I did those. I did 2 in a day. I didn't prepare for them. I was off my tits. I hadn't slept for 3 days. Yeah. Turned up to fucking Wembley wearing a Brighton shirt, fucking off my rocker. And yeah, you've seen the videos.
Yeah, because it's O'Shea and. It's Charlie Sloth hosting it, isn't
it? Yeah. I went up there with there was a whole fucking gang of scallywags there, to be honest, and it all just descended into chaos. And I don't even know where I ended up. I ended up on the wrong side of London, and the wrong side of the bed. Fucking yeah. That was one of them.
Amazing,
one of those moments. Yeah.
So rewind it back even further before Don't Flop, man. How did you get into hip hop music initially, and who's your inspirations?
Right, so I got into hip hop. I was always into hip hop. The first album I ever owned was Black Sunday by Cypress Hill.
Yeah, man.
And I stole it when I was like 10. I didn't even know. I just liked the cover. I didn't even know what was on it. And then I was like, this is. I remember my dad used to drink in one of these old spit and sawdust geezer pubs. And he used to, it was one of them, like, he'd just give you a $5 to go and play pool in the corner and just buy you a Coke and a packet of crisps and just sit there getting, it was an old school northern dad. And I ended up going I went into the pub and fucking, they had Cypress Hill Black Sunday on the jukebox. So I was like pugging money into the jukebox, and I played like A to the K, A to the
motherfucking K, homeboy.
So I put that on, and like fucking the next day, the landlord of the pub had it removed. He was like, "You're not fucking putting that shit on in here."
Vinny Paz posted on Instagram today. It's the 26th anniversary of Black Sunday today.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Hey, that's
Makes me feel fucking old.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, man.
But no, that's a good introduction to hip hop. I mean, Cypress Hill are kind of often like not kind of forgotten about, but like with the kind of the greats, I don't think people really give them as much appreciation as they deserve. Do you know what I mean?
I feel that. I think they're quite underrated. To be
man.
Fair. They, you know what I mean? They were there kind of at the start, like the start of the gangster rap shit. Like,
the pioneers as well, man. In like kind of like stoner hip hop, man. They were like, they were leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else. Do you know what I mean? They called it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. So that was my introduction to hip hop. I didn't start rapping until I started writing. I was in jail, like in 2005 to 2007. I was in prison, and I was just I had nothing to do.
Yeah.
So I kind of wrote, and it was like there was no structure to it. It was just rhymes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Then I got out of jail and linked up with Gizmo, who I'd known since I was younger. I used to drink with him in town when we were teenagers and get up to no good. And I just linked up with Giz, and I was just like, I'm kind of like trying to do some sort of rapping sort of thing. Like,
yeah.
And he took me down to Slip Jam in Brighton, which was like, it was, before it finished, it was the longest running open mic rap night in the world.
Shit.
It was running for like 15 years.
Brighton? Fuck
yeah. It was running for like Heinzie Hines as well. Shout out Heinzie Hines. He was the long-term host of that thing, and that was kind of where I learnt to rap. Like I came up against. I remember Enlish. Do you know Enlish, Dave?
No, man.
He's a rapper. He's done a lot of Don't Flop as well. But I remember him saying to me like, He said, I remember seeing you come into fucking Slip Jam and thinking, who the fuck is this guy? This like mad aggressive guy that can't rap. he's like, and years later, he's like, you fucking, shit's changed. Like,
if that's ever an incentive to start rapping, that's it. Like,
that's
prove
it.
you wrong, man.
I mean, I think Verb T said to me in a battle once, this is one of the most cutting things that's ever been said to me. He said,
I know what you're going to say.
You know what I'm going to say? You know what I'm going to say? He said, you look like some mad dude walked away from a stag do, saw a bunch of guys rapping and thought, yeah, I could do that too. And I was like, if anyone ever just dissected me, took me to fucking pieces in one bar, I thought, so shout out Verb T. Tom, you fucking piece of shit.
Oh man, that's amazing.
He's a good guy, man. But that was.
So and that was kind of your starting point to form Rum Committee then.
Yeah. I was actually I lived in Spain when Rum Committee started. I was out there working, and Giz got drunk one night with Direct, Buckyo, and Bones. And they all got drunk on rum and was like, let's form a crew called Rum Committee. And then I kind of phoned them from Spain and like...
Can I join you guys?
Well, no, Giz was like, we formed a crew. Like if you ever come back from Spain, then there's a place for you. And I came back for a week and never left.
Yeah, man, that's it, man. So, like Rum Committee and obviously the logo's like Rumcom. Is that a play on words of like rom-com? But that was because was it? I thought in my head it was like they worked it out afterwards, and it just looked quite good as a logo.
I don't know. It was just like we used to shout when we were drunk.
Let's wrap that one up then. So man, just to obviously like to our listeners, and I'm guessing if you're into UK hip hop, you're gonna know who Rum Committee are. But for those who don't know, do you want to elaborate a little bit more about the members of the crew? A bit about your history, what you achieved together, live performances and stuff like that.
Okay, so we formed probably 2009, 2010. Brought out our first album, Booze Town, in 2012. Did a bunch of shit in between. Drank loads of liquor, scrapped with loads of dickheads. Did loads of shows, and... what else? We've got members, myself, the front line of myself, Gizmo, Seasling, Buckyo, and Rag and Bone Man. Mm-hmm. We're like the front line, so you've got the four rappers, and Big Rags, he sings, he raps, he fucking plays guitar, he plays piano, he pretty much kicks the shit out of everything he does. Shout out Rag and Bone Man.
I think most people have probably heard of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing bits right now. He's doing fucking bits.
Did you always know like you had kind of an ace in the hole with that guy? Like,
mate, the guy's just fucking. He's always been like. Do you know what I mean? What you see is what you get with him. He's always been that guy. He's always been that talented. He just needed to tweak a few little bits and pieces in his life to make it really happen. He did that, and he's a great guy. He's my little girl Odetta's godfather, and he's a fucking absolute G.
Amazing man.
Done amazing things.
And I spoke to these boys like the first time I saw him. He was playing with Finger Food in Bristol, and he was supporting. He was at the Immortal Technique, Pete Rock, and KRS-One gig, and Split Profits were there, and he just warmed up. Basically, he was like, the support artist. I thought, who the fuck is this guy, man? Like, he just started to sing. Everyone thought, he's going to spit bars, and he just kind of breaks out into this kind of baritone voice. You're like,
yeah, man.
What? We were talking about him for days afterwards, man. I was like friends with him on Facebook for like a little while, and then he became famous and cold over nobody. So, do you know what I mean?
Oh shit.
No, I do really like him. Like, he seems like he's someone that, if I'm right in saying, that keeps very true to his roots. Like when he was on Jonathan Ross show, he's the only person I've seen on there with like a face tattoo.
Yeah, well, he's got 101 tattooed on his face.
Oh, is
I've
it?
got it on my hand there.
Oh, cool.
And that's where Rum Committee started. We've all got the 101 tattoo. It's 101 Southwick Square, this fucking dodgy flat that I used to live in, and just about everyone else used to live in.
Yeah.
And that's where fucking the magic started.
Cool.
That's where Booze Town was recorded, and loads of mad shit happened.
I've got to ask you about something. Carol Vorderman. What's the deal with that?
I don't know Carol. I've met her daughter. I never met Carol Vorderman, but I wasn't around for the rom-com sort of when they were on tour. I was busy taking drugs somewhere.
So hold on. You got to elaborate.
There
on
was
this.
a Sun article when it talked about Carol Vorderman being like Rumcom's biggest groupie, being an unlikely fan, and kind of like
Her and Seaslin are really good friends.
That's so fucking weird,
Really?
man.
Well, it's like
her and
Carol
Seaslin
Vorderman.
talk. Yeah.
Consonant, please.
What is she like based in Brighton as well, or?
Nah, she's Bristol based. I
Oh,
think.
I wouldn't even know, man. It's
I
so
think
random.
she's from Bristol.
It's so random.
But they were Giz and TC were like a support act on Rag and Bowman's tour, and she came and they ended up all getting drunk on Buckfast and eating chicken together. So I hear.
I wonder if she wants to come on the podcast.
Unlikely guess, in 5 years' time, Carol Vorderman, or in addition to Countdown. That's it.
I didn't meet her, but I'm sure she's a lovely lady.
Yeah.
Weird tangent though, man. Like, why is Buckfast so popular for like?
Because
it's cheap and
insane.
I've never
You ever
tried it.
drunk
Yeah, I have, man. Exactly.
It's like, oh Jesus Christ! I mean, I had a fucking long-term hard drug habit, and nothing has made my heart do backflips like Buckfast. Literally, Buckfast is like highly caffeinated fortified wine.
Yeah.
It's fucking brutal.
It's weird because they brew it like Buckfast Abbey,
Monks,
whatever.
the
like,
monks
but
brew
it's
it.
well popular in
But
Scotland.
in Scotland, yeah. Like when I was in jail, most of the Scottish people that I met in jail were in jail for Buckfast related crimes.
Fucking hell, it's own kind of like.
I'd be like, what are you in jail for? They're like, oh, Bucky, man. Fucking Bucky, I lost 2 days. I'd be like, oh, shit. Yeah, no, it's a real big thing up there, the Buckfast.
Oh, man, this fucking.
Where can you get it?
Anywhere, mate.
Anywhere, mate. It's about £8 a bottle. It's fucking
What,
rank.
they sell it in like Tesco?
Yeah, it's everywhere, mate.
Is it?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Mainly like smaller offies, though. I don't know. Do they sell it in Tesco?
I think they do.
Maybe they do.
I don't know.
Does it look like it would be a beer?
It's got like an orange
no, it's
label.
like
It's
a
like
mate.
wine.
bottle,
It's
yeah.
like port or something. It's like thick red liquid.
And it's got a real like
But it's full of
old-fashioned label,
caffeine.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Buckfast tonic wine.
There we
Some of
go.
it.
Yeah, and it says on the label, it's like tonic does not imply medicinal properties.
There you go. You must have seen that
Yeah,
before.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fucking ruthless
That's
shit.
Fucking
That's
like
mad.
Vice documentaries on it and all sorts,
yeah.
man.
It's
It's
actually
like,
nice though.
Yeah, it's
No,
alright.
no. But if you like getting fucked out of your mind and acting like a complete maniac, then you'll enjoy it. But obviously, yeah, don't do it unless you're willing to do at least 15 months behind the door in jail.
So with the going back to the Don't Flop days, in the battle rap resume, you were saying how when you did it, you went up with a lot of Brighton, like a lot.
yeah.
Did you have like a whole sort of crew that you went up with,
Mob of us, yeah.
just
like-
all around the UK to do battling?
Yeah, mainly. I mean, it was mainly me, Giz and TC were like we used to bop about together, but like there was always loads of people with us. Like, yeah. And when we used to go up to like battle events at Brick Lane. There'd be like 30, 40 of us on the train.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I've got 2 brothers, and obviously they've got 2 different age sort of social groups, and they all used to like all their mates used to come. So there used to be fucking loads of us, and we used to just get into so much trouble.
I love that, man. Cause
Sounds like a football firm.
I was going to say, mate, yeah, you just assume that they're like going like,
battle rap.
big exactly. They're going to like spit poetry at each other. I love that shit, man.
No, it's yeah, no, we
Common
were,
misconception. It's like, these
rolled
guys
deep.
are poets.
So you must have had some sort of
Training.
mad times happening, like every single time you went up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, most of the time, yeah.
What's the wildest shit you've ever?
That's the really stupid question.
Yeah.
to ask.
All right, wait, top 3.
Okay. What wildest shit that's ever happened on a?
It could be any
Oh,
either a live show. That
Maybe
you've
it's
been
one that you
involved
haven't told before, because I'm sure you've probably been asked this question
Oh, shit,
several
I'm
times
trying
over.
to think of something. I don't know. There was a little wild shit. It was mainly like okay. So this is a funny one. There's a video of this on YouTube actually, where we were at. It was just after I'd battled Jolly J in Brixton, and I beat him and took 100 quid of his money off him as a bet. 'Cause we both put 100 quid up for it. And then the next battle was Tenchu versus Big Cannon. And we were on the stage, and there were some guys like just being dickheads, just being loud, like while the battle was going on. someone said be quiet. They got lippy. One thing led to another. Next thing is a fucking absolute brawl, like on stage. It's a video of it on YouTube somewhere.
Soon to be added to the channel.
Yeah, yeah, like there was me and I'm not going to name anyone in it because I'm not a snitch, but there was me and a little group of scallywags there. Just fucked a bunch of guys up. Fucked a bunch of guys, threw them off the stage and had them dragged out the fucking venue. But yeah, I mean, you know,
it's probably like 100 different stories like that.
There was, yeah, exactly. None of them are that interesting, to be honest. But there was always a madness going on because, you know, you put like a big gang of like drug and alcohol charged fucking like, you know, rappers are fucking arrogant pieces of shit anyway. Rappers all think they're the fucking tits anyway. You fill them with drink and drugs and just watch them fucking go.
Well, that's a candid depiction.
Didn't you speak about before, I think it was last episode, what rappers you'd all put into Love Island and just what would happen?
Yeah. Like imagine seeing like that kid or Dirty Dike or like even you in Love Island. I'd fucking love to see that. That would be like,
mate, if you just put me, that kid, and Dirty Dike in Love Island, watch what happens. Watch.
Oh,
you know what? If you were to ask me which other two rappers would you take with you, it'd probably be those two guys. They're both fucking lunatics.
Yeah, man. We had Datty on it, man. He was, to be fair, he was fucking funny, man. Certified G, but he's doing bits at the moment, man. He's like really kind of.
I remember turning up to a party once, and I was like, I just went down there to do something, and I was in the kitchen smoking, and I could just see this like silhouette outside this window, and I was thinking, what are they doing? And I went over, I opened this window, and it was just it was like that. He's just like stood in a corner, just like pissing in this garden, just like, all right. I was just like, all right, mate. Just closed the window, just left him to it. Funny guy.
Oh man, it's probably a good segue then. So like, what are your thoughts on the current state of UK hip hop at the moment? Because obviously it's like. It's popping at the moment, man. Like in the independent sense.
It's such a broad question. Like,
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got the UK hip hop world that I live in
versus grime,
and then you've got, but it's not really. I mean, yeah. I mean, you could say grime, but I mean, so interesting actually, because like, am I called to talk about that album you asked me?
Yeah, of course,
so,
man.
Yeah. So you asked me to review an album, and one that was either a recent release or a classic.
Yeah, man.
So the one I've decided to review is neither of those things. But to be fair, it's a fairly recent release.
Is it your own album?
Nah.
Right.
Come on, I've been off the coke for a while now. I'm not that arrogant anymore. Yeah, we're gonna review my album. My album's the fucking best. No, but it's gonna be a classic. Like, it'll be remembered as a classic. It's J Hus, Common Sense. And that's going to be, trust me, that will go down in fucking history 20, 30 years from now, that album.
Mate, all right, elaborate, man.
We'll check out
elaborate now. Do you want me to hold this for later?
We'll check it out. So we're going to do a mini-sode on that. So stay locked, people.
Stay locked.
I like that, man. So that's kind of like, so J Hus, and we talked about him in terms of like, there's this almost middle ground between like, UK hip hop and grime, where certain people fit in between in terms of like, you know, UK rap.
That guy doesn't fit in anywhere, man. His album covers like 5 or 6 different genres.
Yeah,
he's a fucking absolute genius.
But that's another thing, right? We talk about these artists like such as him and like kind of recent examples like Slow Tie and like Cass is Dead, and people you can't really pigeonhole. You can't really say they do a certain type of music, and they're the ones smashing it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they've got that kind of intriguing, I guess, appeal. You've got something for everyone, but it's done in a sincere way. It's not like a disingenuous, like, oh yeah, I'm Ed Sheeran, I'm going to release a fucking album where I've got like pop and country and like trance and hip hop. Do you know what I'm saying?
It doesn't seem like they've gone out there to go and look, I'm going to appeal to everyone.
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
going to appeal to me. I'm going to do the music
exactly,
I like
man.
making. And like I think that shines through when someone makes an album where like they've left a piece of themselves on it.
Mm-hmm.
Then it shines through every time, and that's kind of what I tried to do with my album. You know?
Mate, honestly, man, this is crazy. We have like the kind of 360s we have on this podcast, when we talk to other guests and stuff. We talked about that as well in terms of going listening to an album. I can't remember. It was a couple of guests ago. They said, I think it was Ayiti, when he was like, you want to go on a journey into that guy's brain. Do you know what I mean? You want to get an impression of what this artist is all about, what they're trying to convey through their lyrics, and you go on a journey with them. Unless it's that, then it's surface level. And he think the example he used is Loyal Kana. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he says something, but you don't always necessarily get what he's all about. It's very samey throughout.
Okay. Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And I'm trying to think of another example, but do you know what I mean? It's kind of you want to kind of really get an idea of what that person's about.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I just think like, and obviously like the music I make is hip hop music, but I didn't grow up as like, I mean, I was Cypress Hill, like I say, was the first album I ever heard, but I kind of grew up as a kind of rock kid. I used to play the drums and I used to be in bands and shit.
Yeah, man.
And I was always I was always interested in the story. Like when I was younger, I used to be interested in rapping, but everyone was rapping drum and bass and garage, and I was like, well, there's not really a lot to say. Do you know what I mean? There's like, or it didn't feel like there was at the time. Do you know what I mean? I didn't feel like there was. It didn't interest me enough for me to. But when I started hearing just like, do you know what I mean? People like fucking like Cypress Hill, but like people like Nas or people like fucking Biggie, do you know what I mean? Or people who tell a fucking story and like construct an image for you, and you really like, you can really be in it, you know. And that's the kind of stuff that I sort of started to think, well, you know, this is a bit of me, like.
That's it, man. And Nas has just released Lost Tapes too, isn't he?
No, I haven't heard that.
I haven't either.
I haven't had a chance to listen to it, man.
I'm a little bit scared to listen to it in case I hate it, because I've heard loads of people say it's shit.
Did you see that meme the other day? I shared it on Facebook, where it's like, you know that meme where like guy's walking past and he's holding his girlfriend's hand and he like turns his head and there's a bird.
I was
just
thinking about
the guy turned his head was Nas and he was looking at like trash beats walking past when his girlfriend was like fucking Large Professor, like Prehab, Pete Rock. It was just like, shit. So I was kind of hoping, don't let it be, you know, don't let that be the case, because he does make questionable choices when it comes to beats, man. But
yeah, I think I've just not been convinced by much new stuff he's done. Every so often he'll drop something, I'll be like, yeah, he's back. And just fucking the rest of garbage.
I'll take it you weren't a fan of Nasir then, the Kanye produced one from, because
I mean, I listened to it a couple of times, but I couldn't name one track off it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, that tells you everything.
Adam and Eve, man, listen to that one. That was probably my favourite one on there.
I think with the Lost Tapes too is where it's a collection of like tracks. I've listened to it from like Lost Tapes, obviously. You've got like a range of different producers on there, so pretty sure there is like Kanye produced tracks on there, but then you'll have like.
So I was going to say, is it like old acapellas with like, do you know what I mean, with new beats?
No, I think it's just tracks that never. I'm not actually 100% sure, but I always think it's just tracks that never made like maybe the final cut. For an album.
Nas has been around for so long that like, even like, you think about like new Nas shit, but 10 years ago was new Nas shit. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, so Lost Tapes, they could be from fucking 10 years ago, and if they didn't make one of the albums 10 years ago, maybe do you know what I mean? Like, oh shit.
Yeah, man. But I think like the best example I can think of where an artist has made beats and then a new artist has come into like spit over it is Self-Titled and Buck Wild. So Buck Wild made this like catalogue of beats a while ago, and then they released an album it's probably still about a decade old now, but it's still, to me, it's new. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And then like it's called 1990 Now, so it's very kind of like 90s boom bap aesthetic that Self-Titled was known for. The beats were fucking hard though. Really good, man. But going on to like the question again around like UK hip hop and the state of it at the moment, in terms of like the pocket that you consider yourself to fit in.
Yeah, fucking.
What's your view on that?
That took a mad detour.
Yeah. It tends to, man. These are only 20-minute episodes as well. No, I'm joking. Running out of space.
I would say your in a genre is quite sort of niche, isn't it? You have got your own rightly so, you've got your own sort of style.
It's like I say, you've got the sort of, it's the more underground sort of like UK hip hop that's kind of got its own sort of little like, you know, I mean, I don't mean to sort of like undermine it in any way. They're fucking great fans, but like it's just a smaller pocket of fans. You know what I mean? Where whereas sort of someone, you know what I mean, like someone who's signed to a major obviously is gonna have like a broader range. But yeah, inside the UK hip hop sort of scene or like community or whatever you want to call it, like I rate it. You know, I rate the fact that people now, I mean, like listening to like talking about that kid and Leaf's new thing.
Yeah, man.
Like that, you know, they've got some serious features on there. Like it's a great project.
Got the Griselda boys on there, don't
Absolutely,
they?
yeah. And obviously, like, it's a great project, and the fact that they're like being able to attract that sort of, do you know what I mean? That sort of scope on that sort of clout with a artist like Conway and shit. Like, that's such good news.
Yeah, man.
You know.
Because they had who was it? Had Method Man?
No,
Ocean Wisdom had Method Man, didn't
so you had Conway, you had I don't think Benny's on it,
Rock
is he?
Marcy.
Rock Marciano and Westside Gunn
Yeah.
on that kid's album, man, and all three features of none of the fucking verses are throwaway either. They're all really fucking sick features on
hard.
there. I think like Westside Gunn's track on I think it's.
Westside Gunn's like he's probably my favourite rapper at the moment.
Yeah,
has been for a little while since.
He's amazing,
since
man.
he was putting
Supreme Blientele, man, as well, and like Hitler wears
Hermes.
Hermes, yeah man.
Like shout out Purist, by the way. So like I got introduced to Westside Gun by my boy Purist, who owns Dope the label.
Yeah.
So he introduced me to Westside Gun. I was like, this fucking guy is insane. And obviously Conway and Benny sort of fed off from that. But yeah, I listened to all their shit. Like,
and Conway, I mean, he's been like shot in the back of the head, and he's like, he's half his face is paralysed, isn't it? So
his face looks like an old pair of my trainers, hanging to the side.
But it's sick how they're like in their 30s, man, and they're coming out and making like some of the rawest shit out at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
It's encouraging for someone like myself who's sort of. I'm 34 and I'm just like, oh, maybe I should just knock this shit on the head. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes, like,
don't do it, man.
Well, you know, I'll do it. I'll keep making music as long as I enjoy it.
That's the thing, man. But they did a record recently, the Griselda boys with Premier, didn't they?
Yeah.
Because I read somewhere, I think an interview with Rag and Bowman saying that you're the guy who saw the tweet from Primo and called him, and you were like, mate, you've got to check your Twitter.
Yeah. I was just like, I see that. I was just like, bruv. I was like, and at this point, like Rags, I mean, he was getting big, but I think he was signed, but he was like, he hadn't had his big reveal, you know.
Yeah.
And so like. And then I think I woke up and I see a tweet, Primo, saying, Ruben's Train is my alarm music in the morning. He's like, Rag and Bowman's that guy, or something like that. I was like, what? I was like, hey, Rags, listen, bruv, get your phone out. Yeah, it's fucking, and obviously that opened a lot of doors for a lot of people, you know, like, obviously the Owls did their thing with Primo.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, you know, it's again like another great sort of like bridging the gap between.
I like how Primo's open to embrace the UK scene. Like he did it with Kalashnikov back in the day as well. Like I think when he heard Murder, he was just like, yeah, check this guy out. He's sick and he actually deserves to be heard. Do you know what I mean?
I know we've spoken about before. But what do you think about Drake and his like influence or his take on the UK scene?
It's really like
fucking can't stand that guy.
Really?
It's really polarizing, isn't it?
Why is that?
Fucking just everything about him.
Yeah.
Everything about him makes me angry. He's a fuck. Oh yeah, no. So I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
He's not listening. It's all right.
Yeah,
mate.
no. But I'm trying to correctly summarise how much I dislike this guy without being there for 10 minutes. Okay, he steals his fucking bars. He abuses auto-tune. He's completely like. Have you heard OG Roots like Dirty Goods? Is Send for Drake and Wiley as well.
No man.
You need to listen to that. It's called Goofy.
We'll get a bit of that.
It's
called Goofy.
We'll get that.
Yeah, bruv, listen, it's too much. Yeah. So OG Roots, formerly known as Dirty Goods, fucking absolute legend in the game.
So like obviously like Rags obviously took off and he's blown up, but he's still working with the independent scene. Like he's still dropping tracks with High Focus and that a lot, and he MCs and stuff, and he was on your album.
Yeah.
So I really respect that about him, that he's still willing to do that. But is there any I guess there might be some kind of contractual obligations to a certain extent, because I remember listening to Jess's album that dropped, Billy Green is Dead, and he appeared, it was definitely him, but he was under a Neo Lion or something like that. Do you know
Neo Lion.
Yeah. That's sick, man. But I think I really rate that. Like,
yeah, I don't really. I've never really spoke to him about that, but I kind of found that quite funny. To be honest. Because I just remember the old adverts from when I was a kid, like any old eye and any old eye, and that's what I heard when I saw it. It was like any old eye, and I was like, okay.
Oh man, that's amazing. But yeah, I kind of respect the fact that he's still like involved in the scene that he came from. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Rather than just turning his back on it.
I'll throw it out there and say right now that the verses on my album from Rag and Bone Man were recorded quite some time ago. I don't think would be quite as freely able to release anything if that wasn't the case. And I'd imagine that's the same with the High Focus things that he dropped. Is that he probably recorded them quite some time ago, because I don't quite know. I don't know how free we'd be able to do that now. But you know, he's done a lot for me personally. He's done a lot for like Rum Committee collectively. He's done a lot for the UK just in general. But his friends and family, like, I mean, you know, he brought us out in front of 50,000 people at Glastonbury to perform with him, and you know, I can't imagine pitching that to the label and his management and everyone else involved would have been an easy fucking thing to do, especially as I was really in it at the time. I was really bang on the drugs.
So what was it like playing at Glastonbury then? Surely that's
insane.
an incredible thing to feat.
Insane, man. Like, I've never seen that many people together at any one time.
Yeah.
Like,
So what stage was it on?
It's the other stage.
Right.
It's like the second biggest stage. Used to be the NME stage. It's fucking like 50,000 people there. Must have been.
And you stayed for the whole week? Is it a week?
Nah, I was there for a day.
Yeah.
I was there for a day. We drove up there in the morning. We were supposed to drive back everyone else drove back in the evening. I woke up in a fucking field the next morning.
Jesus, man.
And with no money. No money. Bottle of wine and a bottle of wine filled with MDMA, and I was due in court that morning at 10 o'clock, and I was in a field in Glastonbury at 7:30 going, fuck.
Did you have to just go up to like the security? I know Rag and Bone Man.
Nah, did a fuck. I just walked onto the coach, drank my wine, and didn't go to court. Went out drinking in Brighton instead. Got back to Brighton at like 11:30. I was like, well, I'm already late for court and I'm off my absolute tit, so ended up in Weatherspoons, I think.
I think part of like his appeal though is the fact that he is like so down to earth and hasn't really turned his back on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I think he's even his like public persona is very much like.
It's really difficult for him because
I bet, man.
He's so recognisable.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you know, you can't miss him, like, 'cause he's a big old guy and he's distinctive. But he likes going to these, you know, to his friends' gigs, and he likes being able to perform and do, like, do you know what I mean, and help, like, do things like to help his mates. But I think the situation with him, it just doesn't make it easy. You know, he's never really free to just enjoy himself with his mates.
It's difficult where I'm sure the attention sort of goes off the person who's trying to help to then him, doesn't it? But that's without him meaning so.
Yeah, no, exactly, and I just think, you know, I think if I was getting bothered by someone every 2 minutes, like, you know, you try and be courteous for a while, but it must get old, it must get tiring.
Yeah, well, you've just had your mates trying to have a good time, and you've got someone's trying to take a picture every 5 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it comes with the life, but I doubt there's nothing that can really prepare you for it, is there? So.
I bet, man. Is it weird, like, when you hear his voice on like adverts and stuff on TV, and or you just
really? I mean, you know. I'm glad I don't have to listen to the radio like all day, because, like, you know, like, and I have to listen to sort of like Giant or Human on repeat a million times. But you know, at the same time, like, you know, I listen to like his music indoors. I'm not. I won't say that. Yeah, no. No, in answer to your question, no, it's not weird to hear him. It's like, you know, it's what it is now.
Yeah, man.
He's out there, isn't he?
It's good, man. It's like, kind of must be proud that your mate's just achieved what he's done. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That's all it is, man. It's all love, innit? So, like, what are you listening to at the moment, besides your own album?
To be honest, I don't listen to my music after it's finished. After the album's out, like, I've listened to it so many times by then. I don't think I've listened to the album once since I put it out. What am I listening to now? I'm actually listening to a lot of old grime music at the minute. A lot of old Dizzy and Crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know, and just a lot of bands. Like I listen to just like a lot of old rock music, a lot of like a lot of old grunge music, like Nirvana.
Try me, man. Alice in Chains as well. Any of that?
Yeah, not so much, but yeah,
man.
you're like, you know, I listen to everything, man. But I'm when I start making music, I kind of go into myself. So like I've been recording, so like I kind of when I'm sort of writing new tunes, I don't really listen to much other people's music.
Yeah.
I kind of sort of go, just sort of go into myself and just like trying to like derive my own sort of inspiration. Or whatever. Yeah, I'm not really listening to a lot. I'm trying to finish another project actually that I'm in the process of making with a producer in Brighton called Ransom Notes.
Okay. Yeah. You were talking a bit about that, man. Do you want to talk a bit more about? Have you got like a plan when to release, or
hopefully early next year. I mean, we've recorded probably the backbone of an album. Just we just need to sort of like I just need to tweak it and make it like fill some gaps. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
man. I hear you.
Just add some tracks that need to be added. But hopefully early next year I'll bring that out. But I'm still pushing this one, you know, like I'm still pushing this. Trying not to like
get ahead of yourself.
I've got mad ADHD, so I can flip from a project to something. Do you know what I mean? I can get bored. I can see something shiny in the corner of my eye, and then I've just forgotten about something I've been working on for 6 months.
Yeah, man.
Something new.
I think like Prehab. I mean, it's a really solid album. It flows really, really well. I think it's a good depiction of who you are as a person as well. As you said, it's like autobiographical. It's like a gritty depiction of kind of like, you know, like dealing your time inside and like all of these different things, relationship problems and all of that kind of stuff. And it's really kind of, we spoke about it earlier, it's good to get inside kind of the mind of the artist and hear that. And that's, once you put it out there, is that therapy for you in a way?
Yeah, it was definitely a real cathartic process.
Yeah, I can imagine, man.
It was like, I was so desperate. I was desperate to get to release it before I went to rehab. And I just don't think in my head at the time, I don't think I fully gave enough credit to the process it takes to put an album out. Like the recording, it's the easy part. Just all the ball ache that goes with it afterwards.
There was a lot of like extra production and stuff in that, wasn't there? Because that song, The Abyss, obviously the first song on the album.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, even though it's only like a minute long. I really enjoyed it because it set like a really eerie tone to the whole album, and it sets this whole like shady picture of Booze Town, isn't it?
It reminded me of like a graphic novel or something. Like,
do you know what it reminded me?
Watchmen or something.
It made me think of Gotham from Batman.
Yeah, all that. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, if that's the,
it felt like you're in the street.
That's the case. Cool. Yeah. No. I mean, that's kind of it's mad because that track actually came out of being an intro to a Rum Committee track. The track that we performed at Glastonbury, actually, Rumtown. And that was like, it was a very similar sounding instrumental, and I recorded that as like the intro to this track, Rumtown. And then it never got used, and I just thought, it sounds like, I thought, this could be like the intro to my album. Like, it's that sort of, you know, it's kind of, I don't know, like it's kind of like the upbringing and the kind of life that I've
man.
You know what I mean? Like grew up broke, like my eldest of like 3 boys. My mum like on her own pretty much most of the time.
Yeah.
And like just not having that much money, not living in like very nice areas, and you know being kicked out of school and getting up to no good, and you know, smoking weed in the park and fucking nicking car stereos and shit. You know, that was kind of my sort of teenage years, like trying to sort of like form into an adult, but actually just like, you know, I was just kind of feral, and my mum was like caught up with my 2 younger brothers who she had to be there for. So I was just doing my own thing, and like that's kind of where all my chaos started. You know?
Man. So that was almost like your precursor to this album, in the sense of like, you said it's a long time in the work, so like 4 years.
Yeah.
You mentioned you had a track on there that you wrote 7 years ago as well.
Yeah.
So this is basically just an extension of you as a person.
Yeah, big time. Yeah. I mean, it's like I listened to that album so many times front to back before I released it, because I was just, and there were a couple of tracks in there that nearly got cut. And I'm really glad I didn't cut them, because like I really like it's a body of work for me. I like how it is, and I feel like I covered all bases with that for how life was for me up until last year, until I fucking decided to get myself into rehab.
Good man. No,
shit together.
That's good, man. It's good that you're doing it and you're making steps to do it. That's all you can do, really, man. But we talked about some of the features on your album. Obviously, you got we talked about Rag and Bone Man a little bit. You got Seasoning from Rum Committee. You got Ocean Wisdom on there as well.
Yeah, that Ocean Wisdom track was
the Don.
Was hard, man. I really enjoyed that.
So Ocean's obviously he's from Brighton as well, right? Have you known of him? Obviously, his story was through kind of High Focus and stuff that he recorded with Dike, and they did Walk In and all that kind of thing. But like being on the scene yourself, I take it you knew of him and you knew about him.
Ocean.
Yeah.
I introduced him to Dike.
You did. So I see, man.
I took him up. I've known Ocean since he was like about 16, and he was a friend of my brother.
And that's his real name as well, isn't it? Ocean Wisdom.
So I took Ocean when I was recording round at Dike's studio. I took Ocean with me to introduce him to Dike, and I was fucking hammered, and I was slurring my words recording. So I just said to Dike, like, let Ocean record something, and Ocean recorded Walking. And then it all just sort of.
So that was you were the catalyst behind that, then, man. You made that happen.
Well, I mean.
Well, you heard it here. Like, Kong did it. Kong is responsible for Ocean Wisdom's career. No, I'm joking.
No, I introduced him to Dike. Everything he did. You know.
Yeah, man.
I've got a lot of fucking. You know, I'm really proud of what he's done. I think he's fucking. You know, he's done his thing. And just like, you know, I've introduced different people to different people, and I've always done it because I want people to make good music.
Yeah.
And I've kind of often done it in the face of like it pissing people off because they're like, oh, why are you introducing that person to that person, because that person's going to steal that person, like. And you know, none of that bullshit works for me. I'm just like, people aren't commodities. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
mad.
you know what I mean?
Fucking amazing.
If that person wants to make music with that person, then that person wants to make music with that person, and it's going to be good music, then fuck you. Like, you know.
But it's good to have that sort of in a competition, isn't it?
Yeah.
Obviously, do you know what I mean? I've kind of suffered for my nonchalance towards that whole sort of thing. You know, I haven't. You know, I could have made money from doing it. But you know what I mean, really.
But you kept your integrity and you're a real human being versus like a fucking.
But at the same time, it's like I don't know. I only make music with people I like, mates. Do you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't. For me, like it's not really. I mean, don't get me wrong. If someone offered me a fucking big check to go and make music with a dickhead, I'd do it. But you know. Until that happens, I make music with people who I like. Of course, man. You know, and
that's real talk, man.
You know, be fucking honest. Do you know what I mean? Like, but as far as I'm concerned, like, if two people connecting can make a difference and bring a good project. And fuck it, do you know what I mean? Fuck the politics. Fuck like, oh, he said, she said, oh, well, they're on that side and they've got that. And
is there a lot of that in like UK hip hop?
Yeah, man, it's the fucking bitchiest scene I've ever been involved in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
So is that removing itself from grime? Is this just UK hip hop?
Yeah. I mean,
because grime they all seem to put each other on.
Yeah, do you know what?
They
if half of these guys behaved like they fucking do in the grime scene, they get stabbed up. They would be found fucking slumped at the back of a car somewhere. I swear down, you can't.
You have to give us some examples, like off air, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie, it's fucking snaky.
Yeah.
The whole UK hip hop thing. I mean, there's some real solid guys there. Yeah, there's some real good solid guys. People I've met. I think, yeah, you're fucking proper. But do you know what? Unfortunately, for every decent fucking human being and individual in that sort of whole fucking like scene, there's 5 dickheads. There's 5 like chances, or you know. Anyway.
Yeah, man. I hear you, man.
Anyway.
Do you think that has to do with kind of like ego, like bitterness, or what?
Big fish in a small pond, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. I think certain people are like, you know, they do well in this relatively small, controlled scene.
Yeah.
And they get fucking too big for their boots. Basically.
I suppose with UK hip hop, you do get a bit of like a cult following, don't you? And especially with like social media and the fact that sometimes artists are rated on how many followers they have, rather than like, you know, how much music they're putting out.
It's because it's like a predominantly independent scene, UK hip hop. Do you know what I mean? Like if far removed from grime, if you just treat it as like a pocket, and it is like derivative of US hip hop, like boom bap, so it has its fans. You know, you kind of like high focus typically. Obviously they have the odd exception in that roster. They've got some people doing different bits, but for the most part it's boom bap. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do you think that to some extent is like a detriment to development of the artist in terms of, I mean, you talk about not being a commodity, but in terms of making money and going far and taking it the distance?
I feel like this scene will put you on until you outgrow it, and then it will try and hold you back.
That's an interesting perspective, man.
Personally.
Yeah.
I feel like it'll put you on and put you on and put you on, and then you'll get somewhere, and you'll outgrow, you know. And I'm not talking about fucking me at all. Like, you know what I mean? I'm happy in my own little pocket in the pocket. Like, I'm cool, but I think, you know, you'll see people getting put on and pushed, and it's like, yeah, you're doing fucking well, but actually, I can't really take you with me. And it's like, well, what are you doing, you fucking snake? You're leaving us behind. And it's just like, oh, fuck.
That's all right.
That's all right. The mic's still plugged in, man.
The mic's still plugged in. Fantastic. Yeah. So, you know, like, yeah.
I hear what you're saying, man.
So many people can fucking hate me after this.
No, that's cool. That's cool. So we'll just go back to the album then.
No, it's good. I think it's important to talk about it, though, man. I mean, you've got to like.
Anyone who hates me after this, fuck them. I'm only talking the truth.
Yeah, man. But and obviously, you know, if you're out here for the right reasons and making music for the sake of making good music, then you know that's only a good thing, right?
Yeah.
You've got any kind of. You know, you're always going to get people who don't do it for the right reasons, and let's just leave it there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, Aidan, sorry, mate. Cut you off.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I wanted to speak to you about that song, Don't Explain, that you did with LMA.
Yeah.
I saw that, you...
I really like that song, man.
Yeah,
we were talking about it earlier.
I really enjoyed that. So it tells a story from, like, two perspectives. And then I just wanted to know, did you write it yourself, or was it both written together?
No, I wrote my part, she wrote her part, but I wrote my part probably 4 years before I met LMA,
right?
And I'd recorded it, and just nothing ever happened to it. But like, I think at the time I was in quite a volatile I was in a relationship that was like. It was kind of like abusive from both sides. Like, we were both kind of using each other, like, for different things, different relationship. Reasons. Very toxic, yeah. And it was like, it was just kind of that side of things was. It was kind of like talking from being on both sides of the coin, either being the jealous person thinking someone's fucking about behind your back, or being the person who's being terrorized for doing something when they're not doing it.
Right, gaslighting, man.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, like it, you know, like I say, I wrote that long time ago.
Because it's a very, very deep song, and obviously, like you say, it says about your sort of, you know, past experiences or whatever. So was it important for you on who was going to be be the other perspective in that song? I mean, did you know when you met LMA that you wanted it to be her?
No, I mean the thing is that I rap from both perspectives. She kind of just sings the hook, and the hook's like, see, it only became like a boy girl thing when I met LMA and she sang on it. It started off just me rapping from two different perspectives. And then Ella came in and just sort of like filled a real big gap in the middle where I was just like, it needs a hook, and she came in and fucking absolutely smashed it. And shout out Ella May as well, because she's a real fucking talent and a real fucking sound as fuck person as well.
That's amazing, man.
Solid girl she is. Good stuff. Nice. And yeah, I've got a lot of ratings for her. She's fucking great singer as well. Like, but yeah, I mean that. Like I say, it wasn't written with Ella in mind. Obviously, I didn't even meet Ella for years afterwards. But she fucking, like, I couldn't have asked for anyone better on it. She did the business on that.
No, it's a good song, great song.
And the other track, You, that we talked about, where it's like it's a relationship, but a relationship with something else.
Crack cocaine.
And you recently, looking at your Instagram, you recently shot a video for it, which is yet to be released. And that looked pretty intense, man. Like the kind of concept behind the video.
I don't think I've heard that song, so tell me
it's good.
about that song.
It's very good.
So it's kind of like it's like if you didn't know what it was about, you could be forgiven for thinking that it was about a person, but it was about me being fucking trapped in an addiction basically, and trying to get out of it, and it's produced by Ghost Town as well. Shout out fucking Frankie Teardrop there. Fucking absolute fucking heater of a beat.
Ghost Town's sick, man.
Yeah, he's a fucking sick producer. Yeah. Great talented guy. But yeah, I wrote this track, and then kind of the video is kind of it's starring my beautiful long suffering Mrs. and the mother of my beautiful daughter Eloise. So yeah, give her a nice give her a little shout out. She's so she kind of turned the suffering on its head and got to like hit me with hammers and knuckle dusters and like force feed me fake drugs in that video shoot. It was great stuff. It was so that video is going to be really dark.
So there's a track like Crack Cocaine personified as a
person. Yeah.
It's almost like, I don't know if you've heard it, that 50 Cent song where Baltimore Love Thing, where he personifies heroin as a person.
Oh
yeah,
I know that. Yeah, a little bit. It's I mean, except this is kind of a ballad. It's like a love song.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's got some real heavy like 80s fucking guitar and like and 80s drums on it. Like it's
when you shoot a video with like drugs in, obviously fake drugs. What is it like? What are you
the thing is, back
at stuff, can't you? For like
it's kind of new for me too, because obviously before there was no need for fake ones. I just used to get the real ones in there. But no, this time round, I made big lumps of coke by adding water to icing sugar and letting it set, and you pull it out and it just looks like
they're doing Get Rich or Die Trying when go back to 50 Cent again.
Oh shit! Okay.
Do you know when they start making the fake crack with like icing sugar and heating up the water? And
okay, I can't. Do you know what? I ain't even seen that film. You know,
Have you not?
I'm not gonna lie, no. But yeah, so like that was that, and then I think I made fake crack with candle wax, and I used real weed because you know it's one of the few vices I've got left. So and. I think I had apple juice in the place of liquor.
Nice, man.
But yeah,
and you're definitely not drinking today, man. Because I felt bad on the way down. I was like, I've got the beers in. He was like, I'm not drinking. I was like, okay, you better not. I'm not going to be the kind of like the driving force for your relapse, man. So it's not going to be me.
I'm on the water, man. I'm on the water.
Good man. Much better for you. But yes, it reminds me again of like, do you remember that K Coke Fire in the Booth about he's rapping about his gun?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I love those tracks. Like Common, I used to love her as well, and all that. Just where like something's personified. It just makes for a fucking good concept.
Yeah. No, that's it. Like, I'm really happy with it. Like the video couldn't have gone better, to be honest. And it's going to be actually the intro track that you played today. They Talk. That's going to be the first part of a 2-part story, and You's going to be the second part.
Oh man, that's cool.
So 2 videos coming soon, and yeah, you're going to capture both of them. It's going to be this little.
So these little like themes, in a way, they tie together as a concept. Is this something that you like plan beforehand, or it just happens during the process, and you think actually this could work?
I don't plan much. I'm like I said,
roll with the punches, man.
I've got mad ADHD. I just do whatever sparks my interest at that particular time, and I grab a little bit of inspiration from somewhere. Most of my plans don't come off. To be honest, it's only when I just go, oh yeah, that'd be good, and just do it. Otherwise, if I plan shit, just set myself up for failure. Very rarely ended up following through on my plans.
What's your process behind like learning bars and reciting them and learning them before you do a show? Because like just watching some kind of old videos of you guys from back in the day, and like there's one from Bournemouth where you're playing outside the Winch and Rag and Bone Man strumming the guitar, and you're like spitting for like 5 minutes or whatever. I was like, fucking hell. Like how do you kind of get these? Everyone has a different approach, right, to like memorizing bars. Do you have any specific approach to doing that?
I kind of, by the time I've written a verse, I kind of almost know it because I just sort of rap it to myself. Obviously, as I'm like, I'll write 2 bars, and then as I'm trying to think of the third one, I'll just be spitting those 2 bars over and over again to myself, and then I'll get to 4 bars. So then I'll be rapping those over and over again until I hit the next one. So by the time I finish the verse, I can generally remember most of it anyway. And then obviously, and then once it's finished, I kind of spit it to myself a few times, just like I'm looking at me, I'm like I've got my phone in my, there we go, I'll do that. So I'll be like, yeah. And then I'll tweak a little bar here and there, and then I'll spit it again. So like,
how did you first get like the confidence to do it? Because that's the thing that we don't really go into too much. Like we talk about when people first start writing bars and like writing songs, but then actually having to like spit.
Alcohol and cocaine carried me through for a long time.
Yeah. What, initially as well?
Yeah. I mean,
in terms of like, I've got the confidence to do it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I got most of my confidence from alcohol and cocaine for a long time. It was kind of like, it just was what it was. I was involved for a long time, and I mean, I get mad nervous now, like really, really nervous, like doing. Like this is cool because it's just us talking.
Exactly, man.
Like, if there were people watching, I'd be like, oh,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like shows, you know what I mean? Like recording in the studio, I'm cool, but shows I get a little bit, especially like solo shows. Like, I haven't got a whole gang of fucking guys there to back me anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like, but you just get on with it, don't you?
Is it like second sense? Is it kind of like a second sense now? Like you just kind of go out and do it. Like you've been rapping so long.
I mean, not really. I mean, yeah. I mean, I go out and do it every time, but I still get nervous now. Sort of 10, 12 years later.
Yeah. I guess it's just human, isn't it? It's just like
yeah. That's it.
Yeah, man. That's
but
great.
I love playing. I love playing live. Like I love it. I love being. Like, I just love being. It's where I get a lot of my aggression and my anger out.
Yeah.
I suppose there's a lot of energy that's put into performing, isn't it, and putting on a show.
Yeah. No, I played actually up at Cypher Lounge recently. I supported Skinny Man up there, and that was the first one I'd done in a little while, and that was fucking like that was real buzz. Went off really well in there.
Yeah, man.
And just hopefully just gonna try and pick up a few bookings through the summer, and like I say, I'm playing at that thing. Rest in peace, Pete Cashmore. By the way, playing at his memorial thing next week in Camden. If anyone's going, it's called Battling Demons. For Pete's sake, it's on Sunday, the 28th of July. It's in Camden. I don't know what the venue is, but you can find it on Facebook or whatever. And that's raising money for the mental health charity Mind, in memory of our good friend who sadly took his own life a few months back.
Oh, well, that's a great cause, man. So I'm hoping it all goes well and to plan, and there's a good turnout for him, man. So bless, man.
Did you catch Dirty Dike's last tour?
Yeah, so I went down to the Brighton.
Yeah.
No, I didn't go to the Brighton one actually. Maybe I did. I can't remember.
Because he brought a caravan on stage, didn't he?
Yeah, I did go down there actually. Of course I did. Yeah, I saw him down there, but yeah, I didn't go to the show. I just went down afterwards just to go and say hello to a few
Yeah,
people.
no, I thought that was really good how he put so much effort and design into the actual performance, because that does lack a lot sometimes.
Dike's got an elaborate imagination.
Yeah.
And I was really sort of I liked what I saw there. I
Yeah.
thought, yeah. I remember I was seeing on Facebook before all that, and just this fucking, he put this post up. Has anyone got a caravan that I can cut in half?
Yeah, I saw that.
And I was just like, he's always asking for a fucking caravan or a moped or a speedboat or something. He's always asking someone for some random fucking thing. But
there's a little video of you from some years back, and it's just like when Dike bumped into Kong, and you're like spitting some bars. Is that at his place? He's just making some beats, isn't he?
Yeah, we used to live opposite each other. He lived above my local pub, and
Is this in Brighton?
Yeah, in Brighton. Yeah, and I used to go over there. Just used to go over there and like pop over there for half hour and end up leaving 8 o'clock the next morning, wrecked, like make music until we couldn't anymore. And like there's a couple of, Dike wants to check his hard drive actually, because there must be a couple of little forgotten gems on his hard drive, like me rapping over his beats. But it was that Dike. Yeah, that night. I think it was me, Giz, Dike, and Baxter all got drunk round the Dikes together, and I think me, Giz, and Baxter all did a little Dike bumps into video. Good fun.
That would be definitely the lost tapes, man. I'd love to listen to those.
Jesus,
yeah, man. If you're listening, make it happen. The powers that be, man. But you said you supported Skinny Man. Did you hear the latest track he's just done with Flip Tricks called Thriller? The video came out, I think, a couple of days back.
Oh no, I haven't seen that.
He's donning like a full-on like fisherman outfit and like fisherman's hat, like bright yellow, but he just does it so well, man. He's just certified G, isn't he?
He's still doing his thing, like absolute god in the game, Skinny. I'm fully, can't. What is there to say about the guy? The guy's fucking. He's just
G, man.
Absolute stalwart, man. He's counsellor state of mind's probably one of the reasons I started rapping. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking
UK Illmatic.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's kind of what I was going for with Prehab, was that kind of album.
Yeah, man, and you definitely get that kind of like that through line.
Very like gritty and very honest, just about like your upbringing and what you're about.
Yeah, that's it, and just my surroundings. Do you know what I mean? And shit I was up to, shit my friends are up to, shit I saw, shit I grew up around, like. And like I took inspiration from like albums like fucking Council State of Mind.
Yeah, man. So speaking of UK veterans, then, have you heard Chester P's new album and seen the new video for that "Fuck Your Future"?
I haven't. Do you know what I saw? Because I'm not very active on social media anymore, to be honest. I find it really fucking poisonous on there. So I've got all of them. I've got the fucking set. I've completed social media, but
completed it, mate.
So I've been kind of out the loop. But I was scrolling through the Shotgun The Aux page and I saw you posted, and I was like, I'm gonna have to check that out. But like coming back to what the album I was speaking about earlier, it was Chester P that got me to listen to that album, because I heard a little bit of J House and I was like, I kind of considered his music a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't really sure how to take it. Like I didn't like shit with auto tune in. Do you know what I mean? And like I was kind of a bit standoffish, but I knew I liked it, but I kind of felt like I wasn't supposed to like it.
Yeah.
And then I saw Chester post the J.S. album was the best album he'd heard best British album he'd heard in the last 20 years.
And that was like validation to you.
And I was like, okay, so somebody who I really respect as a fucking artist and fucking has made for me, like From the Ashes is like probably my favourite ever UK hip hop album.
So it's so overlooked though, man. Like, it's incredible.
It's insane how good that album is, and like. And to have that validated by Chester, I thought, okay, and then
it's crazy new track, man. Fuck Your Future, and he's walking around. I think big up UKHipHop.com. I think they filmed it and put it out there, and he's just wearing a gas mask. But the thing I noticed about the track itself, it's over like quite a minimalist, like electro sounding beat.
Yeah.
And it works really well, man. And it's just like nothing else I've heard Chess spit over. Yeah. And I think, and it doesn't sound like he's doing it to keep up. It sounds so authentic as well, man.
He's a progressive artist.
He's amazing.
You know, I mean, he's been about throughout everything. Do you know what I mean? And he's still there, stands head and shoulders above fucking most people. So. You know, that's when you know a true great.
It's his birthday tomorrow as well, and I think it coincides
with...
Happy
birthday, Chester Chess.
Hell yeah, man. Well, it coincides with release of his new album, and he's I think he's doing the album launch at the Chip Shop in Brixton.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah.
When is that?
Tomorrow, I think.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, 21st.
Oh, I want to get up there.
Oh, sorry, mate. You take diverse. Go
There's
for
no way I can get away with that. I've got family stuff to do tomorrow, and then I've got work on Monday.
My gig going days are like, declining. I'm going to see Freddie Gibbs and Madlib though in October.
Oh yeah. They're playing in Brighton, but the Madlib's only at the London dates, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Because Freddie Gibbs is playing Brighton, he's playing Bristol and a few others, but I think Madlib's only going to be at the London one.
What was your thoughts on Bandana? Have you given it a listen yet?
I haven't, no. Like I say, I've not been... See, I get most of my music from social media, so when I'm active on social media, I'll fucking drink in loads of music.
It's hard though, isn't it? It's hard to keep up, man, unless you... To your point.
Yeah.
It's like I've got mates like myself, like devout kind of hip-hop fans who I get a text every Friday just saying, this is dropped today, give it a listen.
I kind of need that nudge, to be honest.
Yeah.
I kind of need that with everything. Like, if there's something I need to watch on the telly, I need to be told 1,500 times. If there's an album I need to listen to, it's the same. If I have to go and fucking clean up or like, do you know what I mean? Go and do, you know what I mean? Anything, I need to be told a bunch of times.
Do you find, I was going to say, do you find as well where we've got, the likes of YouTube, we're very, I think we've spoken about this before, we're very much more into towards like a singles generation. Like rather than people putting out full albums, they put out just singles. Yeah. And it is difficult to really to keep on top of like what's going out because
short attention spans,
I don't know if you follow like Grime Daily or Link Up TV and that sort of scene, but daily, there's new stuff coming out daily, and it's hard to sort of keep track of it.
Yeah, that's it. I think you just like your mind ends up oversaturated because you're watching that person's new video while seeing out the corner of your eye that person's new video is on this fucking little drop down thing there, and you're like, oh, I'll have to clock that afterwards, and you press that. Next thing you know, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you flick through 15 music videos and you probably haven't watched one of them front to back.
Yeah, you can't digest things properly because everything's so instant. No, I completely get that, man.
That's why, like, if I find an album I like, I'll listen to it front to back, like, a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's the only way to really take in like a musician.
100%. And I think as well, it's like everyone has kind of a process for listening to and digesting music, and there's so much influence that comes through social media, especially in kind of like a scene like UK hip hop, where it's like the newest things come out. It's amazing. Everyone listens to it. It's amazing. When in fact nobody actually takes the time to digest it in a way where they think, I've actually made like an informed opinion. Objectively, this is good because of these reasons.
Yeah.
It's like, it's new, it's the best. It's new, it's the best. It's new, it's the best.
My mates like it, so I like it.
Exactly that, man. And I think that's just a generational thing. I think it's the way we digest media, the way we consume music these days is very different. Unless you kind of come from a background where you appreciate music organically anyway. Yeah. Like when I grew up, I was buying
physical copies,
physicals, man.
Physical copies.
Yeah.
CDs, cassettes, fucking. Do you know what I mean? But obviously vinyl, fucking. Do you know what I mean? Whatever. Would you like to have something? When you hold an album, you listen to the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
Agreed, man. 100%.
Especially if it's on cassette, because you can't skip the fucking tracks. But you know what I mean? Like when you've got something you can hold, like you will listen to it and you'll read the fucking inlay and you'll do you know what I mean? And you'll find cool little things about the artwork you like, and I think there's so much less of that now. I mean, I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, I think the way things are now definitely gives like less known artists a much more of a chance at gaining that platform and gaining that fan base. But at the same time, everyone's a fucking rapper these days, isn't there?
There's a lot of oversaturation because of that fact.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone's like, right, no, this is my big chance, and it's just like.
And also, when we spoke about this kind of stuff in previous episodes, where it's like, yeah, you might have spat some bars and uploaded the video, but have you ever rocked a stage? Have you ever kind of like, and the live component is so big.
But even so, like if you pay enough, you can get your video on a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Like the big sort of major YouTube channels. So like if you pay
again, it's so false, isn't it?
Exactly like you say.
That noise, man.
I was speaking to someone somebody about me releasing videos of Prehab, and they were saying, why don't you try and get it on this channel, that channel? I was just like, what's the fucking point? Like all I'm gonna get is, do you know what I mean? I've seen people do this and they've paid dough to do it, and all they've had is like, you know, they're still sat on 500 fucking views with 10,000 comments underneath saying you're shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
real
like,
talk, man.
So ruthless. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather just release it off my own channel, show it to the people that want to see it, and the people, and try and, you know, all right, yeah, I mean, obviously you pay for a bit of advertising here and there, try and make sure it gets seen by the right people and the right demographic. But fuck begging fucking somebody else's fans.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Man. Don't go out there on your beg, cap in hand, going, can I have some views, please?
Yeah, 100%, man. There's definitely, like, and to your point, there's a demographic for the pocket of UK hip hop generally, and then there's a subgenre of that and a pocket you fit into. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's very targeted.
I'd rather have 100 loyal fans than fucking, do you know what I mean? Than 1,000 sort of like people, do you know what I mean? That are dipping and, do you know what I mean? I'd rather have 100 loyal fans that will buy my next 5 albums than 1,000 people buy this one. Do you know what I mean? Just off the back of it being having a video on the right channel. It's like, you know, I mean, obviously, like at the same time, you want more fans. But it's like, at what point do you sort of stop throwing money at that? It's such a the music scene at the moment. It's so exploited. I mean, it was already like really exploitative anyway. But like, you know, you've got people paying to have their video on this channel, paying to fucking play a gig. People paying to support someone.
Oh, mate.
Promoters selling support slots. It's fucking crazy.
That's backwards, man.
Yeah,
because then you've just got these
beats,
you've got these fucking rich kids that grew up in a fucking barn, a converted barn in Surrey, and they're fucking chatting about fucking shot in fucking weight, and they're chatting about like knife crime, and it's like, and the only reason they've got that platform to fucking say that shit in the first place is because they fucking cleared out like the trust fund to fucking do it, and it's like, whereas you've got other people that have like actually been in, you know, they're actually like quite close, you know what I mean, have done the things that they're talking about, have been involved, you know, they're talking something that's relevant to them and relative to what they've seen, and you know, they don't get a look in because obviously, you know,
they don't have the
money talks.
Exactly, man. They don't have the kind of the helping hand.
Buying views and all that bullshit and followers. It's just fucking. Like, social media is false anyway, even when you've got all your own real followers.
Come on, mate. Let it all out.
It's fucking bullshit, isn't it? It's such a fucking... Anyway, let's move on.
No, man. I'm
talking about fucking social media.
I'm enjoying the rant, mate. I'm enjoying the rant. So before we wrap up, man, is there anything you want to plug? Is there anyone you want to shout out?
Okay, so, shout out my fucking Rum Committee Goonies every time. We don't see each other as much as we used to, but still a lot of love there. And shout out Cieslin, he's got a project out, Obstacles. Shout out Gizmo, he's got an album out at the moment. Shout out fucking Brighton. Shout out my album Prehab. You know, if you want to get to know me a little, then listen to it. It's out on all major platforms. If you don't want to buy it, you can get it on Spotify and Apple Music and that lot. Kong Prehab featuring Rag and Bone Man, Ocean Motherfucking Wisdom, Ella May, Cieslin, production from a whole bag of fucking characters. Yeah, and it's a little insight into my life before I got myself off the fucking hard stuff. Other than that, shout out my beautiful daughter Odetta. You know, daddy is a gangster rapper. And I'll leave it there.
Good, man. I really appreciate you making the journey to come down, man. And before we play out with the track The Don, featuring Cieslin, Rag and Bone Man, Ocean Wisdom, Aiden, where can you find the podcast?
Well, Tom, I thought you'd never ask. So you can find the podcast on all major streaming platforms on YouTube, and give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, and also Twitter. That Jake's got locked down.
At Shotgun The Aux.
At Shotgun The Aux on absolutely everything, man. Yeah, follow, like, subscribe. As you guys know that we always preach, follow your local rappers, follow your local venue, follow your local like clothing lines. Just support people, because
exactly, man.
you know,
don't always head straight to the top. Just think of the people doing it. If you fuck with them making dope music, then just make sure they know it and support them.
Yeah, don't just go. Yeah, like you say, Tom. Don't just go for the big people. You know, everyone has to start off somewhere. Support as much as you can.
Pass on the way up, you'll pass again on the way back down.
Exactly that, man. Wise words.
In the words of JK, make sure you feed your man them, or you'll be on the menu, Don.
On that note, man. So where can you find you on social media, Kong?
So Twitter, Facebook, Insta, all the same. Kong Boozetown, KONGBOOZETOWN, Kong Boozetown. All of my social media. That's me. And go out and check the album. And,
bless, and you should, because it's fucking sick, man.
Yeah,
so
man,
from one B town to another B town, we're gonna play out with the Don.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for joining us, man. Bless, safe journey home.